you've got a total different approach to it than the average person.
Oh, yeah.
The average person, when you talk to them about doing chin-ups for 24 hours or anything fucking crazy, they don't look at it, they're like, oh, there's like a negative, a doom feeling.
That's the thing about it, man. I talk about my book, open-mindedness. What separates me from a lot of people is they go into a daunting task, and the task is overwhelming. Like, when I heard the pull-up record was 4,020 pull-ups, and I was talking about breaking this record, people are like, oh my God. I went right to a pen and paper. Like, what are you doing? I'm doing the math, man. What are you talking about? I'm open-minded to the fact that, okay, if I do 5 pull-ups in a minute for so many hours, I can get so many pull-ups in. How much time do I have to rest? I was breaking the math down. You have to be open-minded to the possibilities that I can do this. Once you shut your mind down to the possibility that it can be achieved, there's no way it can happen. So that's why my eyes and my body light up about things, because I know that if you're in a fight, you have to attack. You have to keep attacking. The enemy has to know he is not going to give up. You must break the soul of whatever the fuck is in front of you. That's what I realized. I was never breaking the soul of anything in front of me. So that's why I came up with a thing called Taking Souls in my book. I started to devise ways to break a soul of a human being, of an object, of whatever's in front of me. If you keep on attacking something, nothing wants to stand in front of anything that is relentless. Nothing. You know, there's 3 shifts. There's 8 instructors, 3 shifts. Because, you know, the guys going through Hell Week, they're up all day and all night for 130 hours. This is the promised land of mental hardening for me. I love this place. And you have the instructors who you know, they've been there, done that. Now they're instructing you. So they do their 8-hour shift. They have their parkas on. It's usually cold, coffee, drinking their coffee. And they're beating the crap out of us. And when I started realizing, I started playing mind games. And I was like, you know what? I bet these fuckers are looking at us, judging themselves about when they were going through Hell Week. About, let me see, I'm looking at Goggins right now. I was better than him. I was better than that guy. I was better than that fucker over there. And I was like, okay, you gotta judge me, right? All right. So that's what I'm gonna do to you. So what I started doing was I got my boat crew 2. It's in the book. It's a great story. Say, come here, guys.
You can't break boat crew 2.
You can't break boat crew 2. So it's Wednesday, and everybody's broken, everybody's beat up, man. And like this, I mean, you start moving like a robot. Everybody's like just trying to get through Hell Week now, and your energy's zapped. And they know Wednesday's like that over the hump.
I love that you talked about that in the book too, that they put it in your head that Wednesday you're going to be tired.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing. They tell you how you're supposed to feel. So you are feeling that way. I was like, don't let these motherfuckers tell you how you're supposed to feel. No, it's day 1, motherfucker. This is hour 1. So I was getting my boat crew all jacked up. I said, we're going to take these motherfuckers' souls. So when they had us doing this simple thing that guys were struggling with, Boat Crew 2 was just launching the fucking boat and you're yelling, yeah, you can't fucking hurt us. Can't hurt Boat Crew 2. And I looked on the instructors' faces and it looked like someone had just fucked with their soul. And I looked at my guys in my boat crew and I said, hey, guess what? Those motherfuckers aren't fucking tonight. We own space in their fucking head. We own space. They're gonna think about us tonight. They're gonna think about how the fuck.
Killing boners.
That's right. How on Wednesday are these guys doing this?
And screaming out, you can't hurt Boat Crew 2.
We were bringing the fight. We were attacking. So when you keep on doing that, guess what people start doing? I ain't fucking with these guys no more. So Boat Crew 2 got a lot more sleep. Boat Crew 2 just became that Boat Crew like, hey, we just kept charging and we started fueling off of that. We started fueling off the fact that, man, it takes 1 second of energy to steal everybody's. And then you have all the energy you need. That's all you need. You need to look at someone's eyes. You know how it is when you fight somebody, you broke that motherfucker. He's like, oh God, man, I don't want to go back to the next round. And you feel like, my God, I can fight all day. I can fight all day long. That's what taking souls is. But you have to have the will, the heart, the courage to go that distance when you're exactly jacked up. You have nothing left to give and give more. I learned how to control my adrenals. If you know how you get that fight or flight response when you get to move real quick.
Yeah.
And you know, I started learning the mind a lot, how to get myself jacked extremely fast, like in a horrible environment when everybody's miserable. I learned how to really find strength in the misery when everybody's suffering, everybody's all poopy pants and their mentality's down and everything, I started just like, my God, this is where I shine. And I started using all that misery for tons of drive and motivation to then lead people further. Because you can get a lot of power through misery. And once people see that, my God, Goggins is fucking going, then everybody says, roger that. Let me get my shit and go too. So I started realizing that if you can just find strength just a little bit longer, you will have a crew of people following you along the way.
And that is another thing that no one can ever teach you. You're going to have to learn that on your own. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to figure out how to pull that energy out of your mind on your own. There's no book you can read that all of a sudden I have it. I've got the technique now. I know how to do it.
Yeah.
No, it's a grind that you have to start and finish on your own.
You have to take great pleasure in the fact that no one wants to be where the fuck you're at right now. Great pleasure in that. Almost makes, it has to bring a passion out of you. It has to bring something very, very weird out of you, man. Like, people don't really understand what that is. When you're in the worst environment possible, the worst situation possible, and everybody's looking like, God, man, I hope this ends. And you see that. Time slows down and you see that. You're feeling that. Everybody has that look on their face like, God, this gotta go. I don't want to be anymore.
You got it. What did you have to do?
So they put me in the hospital for a while. That's when my hand got real messed up. And my fluids were extremely low. And I had done I think I did 3,000 pull-ups. And they're like, man, your body is wrecked up.
Were you just not drinking water while you're doing it?
I was drinking water, but not enough. I was sipping this carbohydrate drink. Mm-hmm. And my calories were extremely low. I didn't know how much I was going to burn through. And you burn through an awful lot of calories, man, doing that many pull-ups for that many hours.
Yeah.
And with the repetition, with using the single points of just my hands and my biceps, my back, like my body was swollen like the Pillsbury Doughboy. I mean, it looked horrible. And so they kept me in there for a while. But
how long?
Probably about 8 hours. I was in about 8 hours on IVs and stuff like that.
So it was basically a rehydration issue. That's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tons of fluid. And they sent me home though. So I went home that night.
And how long did you wait before you jumped back at it?
I think I was back on the pull-up bar about a week and a half later. And then I broke the record 6 weeks later.
Wow.
I broke the record.
Jesus Christ. So when you did get back on the pull-up bar, how fucked up was your body?
It was bad. But what I do is like what I've done through everything, which isn't real smart. I mean, it works for me, so I'm not saying do this, is I've trained through a lot of my injuries. And I started developing, I started doing that in buds, in SEAL training, because in SEAL training, you got to start from day one, or they just kick you out. So I started from day one enough. So my third time going through, I was really jacked up.
Well, you had pneumonia.
Yeah, I had pneumonia, and I had really bad stress fractures. So my stress fracture, so I would put a sock on and then duct tape my foot all the way up to the top of my, or to the mid of my ankle, or to the mid of my calf. And because my stress fracture was so bad, so like the pivot point between my ankle and my shin, I just cast that all the way up. And so I went through for a few months with stress fractures. And what was crazy about that is they healed. By the time I got to third phase, my stress fractures were healed.
Wow.
And I don't even know how, rhyme or reason behind it. I ran on them. A few months later, they were healed.
Wow.
So I don't know what that means.
So you just pushed through the agony, and eventually your body just said, this crazy fuck is not going to stop.
It's a true statement. Yeah, it's weird. A lot of my injuries I've just pushed through, and I duct tape it up. I mean,
have you ever had to have surgery on any of them?
No, just a couple heart surgeries, but none of my actual physical body.
And what was your heart surgery for again? You talked about this before,
right?
Yeah,
ASD. I had a hole in my heart.
Yeah.
So we talked about
even more ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what we talked about that too, man. They took me off and studied me for a while. So they realized that, my God, I shouldn't even been in the military. I wasn't even qualified to be in the military with a hole in my heart. Let alone be in special operations where you jump on planes and stuff like that. So I was.
What do you weigh now?
About 182, 183.
And you were at like 300 plus pounds when you were at your fattest, right?
My fattest, when I weighed in for the military, I don't know what my fattest was, but when I weighed in on that scale, when Steven Saljo hit that scale on me, man, it was 297. And he's like, brother, you gotta lose 106 pounds. And I was like, fuck this, I can't. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, how's that possible? So anyway, it just, you know.
And not a lot of time. That's the crazy thing. They didn't give you 3 months to lose that. 33 pounds a month is a lot of fucking weight. Plus a few.
Almost impossible. And that's what I thought. But see, you see the person I am now.
Yeah.
I was 175 pounds in high school. So I was a skinny guy in high school. So I made myself big. Mm-hmm. I'm a small boned person. So it wasn't, trust me, it was hard. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But
what did people think around you when they saw you 3 months later, you're 100 pounds lighter?
My mom couldn't believe it. Because so I was living in Indianapolis, Indiana at the time. And so I was trying to study for this ASVAB test again, that, you know, I got to take it again, going into the Navy. And I'm out here trying to lose weight, and I'm, you know, working for this company, spraying for cockroaches and all sort of crap. And I would lay in her pond in fucking November in Indiana. Just lay in her pond. Cause I'm like, I'm going to bust. I got to get hard. You know, so I would lay in the pond, get out of the pond, and go for a run. Just all wet, cold, like like the daggone shirt would just freeze up from ice and shit. And I'd be out there running and said, what is wrong with you, man? Like, you were that kid who just didn't want to, like, what's wrong with you? So she started seeing the transformation, like, you know, this guy is obsessed with trying to become somebody. Next thing she knew, man, my God, you actually lost that much weight that fast.
I love the fact that you did it, but what hurts me is when I hear stories about people that get like stomach stapling and surgery and all that shit that they do. Like, you just need to just lose the weight.
Right.
And if you just did it the right way, you would have earned it. And if you earn it, you'll keep it.
That's the thing about it, man. Like, we like to take these very quick fixes in life. We want the 6-minute abs approach to life.
Yeah.
Nah, man. There's no permanent in that.
Yeah.
There's no permanent in that, man. There's no scarring. There must be scarring.
I'm terrified of this thing that you're saying, that there's no end, that there's no finish line, that every day is a new thing, that you have to earn it. Still, after all the shit you've done, every day you get up and you have to earn it.
Yes. You know what's funny about that? I want you to be scared of it.
Yeah.
I want you to be scared of it.
It gives you fuel.
It's great motivation. And see, if you look at it that way, the reason why I speak the way I speak, because I believe in what I'm saying. If I ever shut it down, that's the end of me. And whatever my 100% will be, I don't know what's going to happen to me. Tomorrow, everybody's like, what if you can't run? I will figure what the fuck I can do and do that. That would be my new 100%. You must continue to find your new 100%. Whatever life throws at you, you must find what you can do now. I may become the best, you know, scientist of all time. Who knows? Watch out. You know what I'm saying? Be scared. Watch out. Who knows?
Well, that is an approach, like this approach, this mental approach. You can use that for anything once you get past the quitting mechanism of your mind.
That's
Once
right.
you get past that thing, that this is applicable. You can take these lessons that you learn from these grueling runs, from this losing 106 pounds in 3 months, from all these different things of struggle. Mm-hmm. You can take these lessons of struggle and you can apply them to anything.
Yes. I talk about it in my book here about that race I did that made SEAL training look like a child's play in Ranger School. That first 100-miler I did, where I shit on myself and all kind of stuff. That 19 hours it took me with no training, I sum it up like this. You're talking about struggle, how you can put so much of life into struggle. In that 19 hours, I lived 5 years. 5 years of struggle, of happiness, of depression, success, failure. In 19 hours. That's what's great about some of these things I do. You get a wide range of life in just 19 hours. You know, like when you get to like mile 50 in your mind saying, we got to get out of here, man. And then you get to like mile 60, okay, we're feeling good. You have all these highs and lows that you have to manage within this suck fest of 19 hours. And that's what I get from a lot of these different things, that human growth, you know, growth of the mind. Without friction, there is no growth. Without friction, there's no growth.
There's no growth and there's no satisfaction. Mm-mm. Like, there's no like, people want to sit around and rest, but you don't really appreciate rest unless you earned it.
That's it. And people they think I'm the craziest person on the planet. You are so far fucking removed from that statement. It's not even funny. I was 290 pounds twice in my life. I do not like to do the things I do, but there's humongous satisfaction from doing it. the humongous satisfaction from lacing your shoes up saying, I don't really want to go for a run today. And then running. And then getting back and saying, wow.
I did it. Yeah.
And that's what it's about. It's about these small steps to doing things you don't want to do.
Everybody wants that holding hands while the sun sets and retirement. And you're walking off into the sunset.
The biggest question I get is, so when do you rest? When do you recover?
Yeah.
And I don't want to scare people, but the truth answer is, I don't take any days off.
No days.
No days.
7 days a week.
7 days a week.
Well, what is a normal day?
Normal day for me, a normal day. So let's say a light day.
Light day.
Light day is at least a 7-mile run. I will every other day, so about 4 days a week, calisthenics plus gym workout. So I don't do any gym workout without hitting pull-ups, push-ups. I call it nickels and dimes. So like 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, or I'll go, quarters and whatever, like 25 pull-ups or in like 50 push-ups. So I have all these different things I mess up. So I will do weights with calisthenics, and every single night I stretch. For at least every night I stretch for at least 2 hours.
2 hours?
Every night. Every night.
So you stretch after you're done working out?
Yeah, so at nighttime, usually I'll be either in a quiet room, or I'll be watching TV, or I love sports. Be watching the game, and I'm on the floor, man. And that's what I do.
So you just stretch while you're doing stuff?
I stretch while I do stuff.
2 hours is a long ass time to stretch. Is this just because you're trying to correct
I'm trying to correct
years of not doing that?
No, years of this.
You ever fuck with yoga?
A lot.
Yeah?
Yoga's the shit.
What do you do, hot yoga?
I have my own yoga. Mm-hmm. So I kind of invented my own little yoga for what my body needs. I've done hot yoga several times. Yoga's huge. Yoga's huge. Like holding those positions. And I'm big in holding them for a long period of time. So that's where my stretching is. Like people say, don't hold stretches for a long time. I hold them for a long period of time. Cause I'm trying to get full range of motion. A lot of people go in for like my shoulders all messed up. I get surgery on it. Nah. If you don't have full range of motion in your body, don't go in and get cut on, man, until you know that your body is actually opened up. We start to get knuckle dragger syndrome from doing all these push-ups. You never work your back, like your rear delts. So here you are, you start hunching over. Before you know it, your joints are out of whack. You need to get full range of motion before you know how fucked up you truly are. So I'm always working on full range of motion like a kid. They run so effortlessly. They're always in full range of motion. As you get older and tighter and sit and more stressed, your body starts to get more and more tight. Therefore, your shoulders start to get out of balance and out of joint and out of socket. Therefore, it's popping.
Yeah.
It's popping because you're fucking tight. Open it up first. Open it up. Can you touch your hands behind each other and raise them up behind you? It's all these different ranges of motion that I got real smart on from a guy, and I took it to another level. So
do you work with a trainer, or do you always work out by yourself?
Everything I do, I've never had a trainer in my entire life.
Really?
Never. Not one time.
Do you read about physiology or exercise science or anything like that? Nothing. But what about like when they learn new shit about new ways to, enhance shoulder stability or new exercises? You're not interested?
Nope. I don't I don't do it for that reason.
What do you do?
Still to this day, man. To this day, it is for me to become better mentally. How I look has just become I have thousands, hundreds of thousands of miles on this body. Running, pull-ups, push-ups, swimming, whatever you want to call it. This body is what it is now. It's from repetition. It's not from studying, hey, if you hold a plank for this long, fuck all that bullshit. I don't care about it. I just do it for my mind.
Right.
I want to continue to harden because that's the only thing I want. That's what I want. I want to have that mind ready for life.
But you also want to increase your range of motion. Like
range of motion is huge.
You want to make sure that you're not causing any additional injuries. Wouldn't you want to stabilize some areas that maybe you feel like you might have weaknesses and find out new techniques to do that?
Have you seen me with my shirt off?
No.
Yeah, it's stable as fuck.
I saw you when you had your shirt off when you first came here. I walked in. Dave got here early, and by the time I got here, he was already doing chin-ups.
Yeah, it's stable. It's stable. Do some pull-ups, push-ups, man. That's some stable shit.
Yeah.
But all that stuff is very important, honestly. Just all jokes aside, man. Full range of motion, getting your shoulder rotation, all that stuff is very important. I learned a lot about that coming up. I had a lot of people I worked out with that were real smart about all this stuff. I'm a real old school meat eater, like Bill Kazmaier type of lifter. Even though I don't look like it. Back when I was that guy in the back of the skinny guy, that's what I did. And I got off really big into human performance, about the body, strength, fitness. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a hybrid motherfucker. A guy that could run 200 miles and then go to the gym with your meathead who's scared of running and lift with him. So that was my whole thing in life. I wanted to be the guy who can run 200 miles with the skinny guys and then go to the gym with the big meatheads and say, okay, load it up, let's go. So that was my whole thing.
And there's something about procrastination. It's like, it's painful.
Oh, yeah.
You know you should be doing things, but you just keep doing it. You keep itching that scab.
I procrastinate like a motherfucker, man, every day. I don't want to do this shit. That's what's so funny, man. People looking like I'm some damn superhero that came down from the gods, from the heavens of earth. No, man. I don't want to do this shit. I'm looking at my shoes for 30 minutes sometimes thinking, man, fuck, man, people look up to you, Goggins. Fuck them. I don't want to do this shit. I'm like, I want to do this shit, man. But guess what?
You do it.
I'm going to do it.
As long as you do it.
And that's what I know about it, man. That's why I stopped doing it. I'm thinking, man, you're going to fucking sit here, you look at your shoes for 30, 40 minutes. You're going to think about it all day long. You're going to do it anyway.
And sometimes you don't have the time to look at your shoes for 30 minutes.
No.
Those are the beautiful days.
Yes.
Because you just have to go.
That's right.
And so, there's no room for procrastination.
And that's when I was in the military, I loved my schedule. Because I knew I had to be at work at 7 o'clock. So you better get your ass up at 4 o'clock, man. You got to get your shit in, brother. Because I had to get my shit in before I got my shit in.
Right.
So that was my mentality back then, man. I had to get the miles and get everything in, man, and get to work, man. I'm competing with the alpha males. Me and the guy I talked about in the book, it's Silverback Gorilla is what I call him in the book. That's not his real name, obviously. But yeah, he saw me go into my car the night before my first 100-mile race, and it's like he called me out. Said, hey, Goggins, come here. When a Navy SEAL calls you out, guy that puts you through 3 hell weeks, you're like, you know what? Fuck. I got to go to the gym and lift heavy now. So we're doing squats, deadlifts, power cleans, heavy bench presses. And I'm thinking, I have to run 100 miles tomorrow. But I also knew he was coming out there to watch me. So I was like, you know what? You put me through 3 hell weeks. You were my instructor. So now it's my turn to educate you on what a human can do. Because I know you could be sitting there thinking while you're watching me with your wife and your kid, and you just worked out with me the night before. We went real heavy, did the heaviest shit, and we're sore. You're going to sit there while you watch me run around this 1-mile track. How the fuck is he doing that shit right now? We lifted heavy as hell, and he's running 100 miles and never has run past 20 miles in his life. I use that for a lot of fuel. So that gym workout, Mr. Silverback Gorilla, there was a lot for my mentality that brought with me. I knew I would see you. And he came at mile 50 with a package of 6 donuts that I chomped up with the quickness. So I used that workout for a lot of motivation. I knew he'd see me. I know he'd be thinking about it.
How'd you not get rhabdo that day?
You know what? I don't know what I got that day, but I talk about it in the book again, that when I went home that night or that morning, that was single-handedly nothing even close. I'm 43 years old now. There's nothing even close to that pain. I knew for a fact I wasn't gonna get out of that tub. I knew I was done. I was talking about dehydrated, no nutrition. I was eating Ritz crackers and Mileplex. That was the worst pain I'd ever experienced in my entire life. I was pissing Coca-Cola out of me. It was bad. It was bad.
She probably did have rhabdo.
I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I was
pissing
bad.
Coca-Cola. That's
Coca-Cola.
No bueno.
Yeah, no bueno, sir. It was bad. And my ex-wife was like, fuck, And she's a nurse.
Yeah.
And she called my mom up, and mom had her friend there was a doctor friend of hers. Said, hey, you gotta give him to the doctor immediately. And I was like, hey, you gotta give me that fucking phone. I gotta call up Chris Costman, let him know I did 100 miles, so I get in the bad water. It didn't go as like I planned, but I did get in the bad water after another race. But
didn't you do a marathon like how long later?
So basically, I had never run a marathon.
Right.
I did the 100-mile race first, no training. But I had signed up for the marathon because it's the first Las Vegas marathon running down the strip of Las Vegas. So Las Vegas had a marathon, but this is the first time it's gonna go down the strip. 2005, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna sign up for it. I went on to Iraq, did deployment. When I come back, I'll be training for it, and I'll go do this race with my family. Me and my ex-wife and my mom signed up for it. So in Iraq, me and my boy, Sledge, in the book, we're just working out. We're doing crazy workouts. And my cardio was 20 minutes every Sunday on the elliptical trainer. That's the only cardio I did. So I call myself training for this marathon, right? So then, my boys got killed in that incident that happened, lone survivor, the whole Operation Red Wings. So that's what prompted me to do the 100-mile race. After the 100-mile race in November, it was like 2 or 3 weeks later, that marathon that we all signed up for that I didn't train for the 100-mile race, didn't train at all for this. Like, hey, I'll drive there with you all, because I tried to run the day before. Like, I can't even run down the block. So I didn't do it. So we're driving to the race. I said, hey, Mom, my mom's going to walk it. I said, I'm going to walk it with you. My ex-wife, I said, you can go ahead and take off, do your thing, run your race. I'm going to walk my mom. That gun went off, and something fucking happened. I took off. I was like, what? I took off like a jackrabbit. Gone. I was like, what the hell? So I was thinking the whole time, I was like, man, I just ran 100 miles like 3 weeks ago, like first time ever. I was peeing blood and pissing shit on myself. I go, my body's broken. My Achilles and my tendons and my feet are broken. I go, what is this? And every time I started running further and further, I go, okay, I got to the 10K. I'm on Boston Marathon time, because I knew the Boston Marathon was like 3:10:59 for my age. I'm like, hang on a second. And then I started using all this external shit for motivation. I'm like, okay, who the fuck can go out here and run 100 miles, no training? Then I'm broken. Most broken I've been in my life. And now I'm running a marathon. Who could do it? So I started just feeding myself. I get to half the mile. I'm about 30 seconds off the pace. I said, hang on, man, you're Goggins. You can do this shit, man. And I started just feeding myself. You can do this. Before I knew it, man, I got to like the last 6 miles, and I was off the pace, and I just kicked it. And next thing I knew, I did like a 3:08 and change. I was like, I was like, what the fuck? What have I been leaving on the table?
Right.
I've been leaving so much on the fucking table for pain. And that's when I started like going crazy about the mind. Like, what the hell am I, like, what is up? Like, it opened these different doors of like possibility, and like, what is humanly possible? What are we capable of? Like, people, I didn't even know. I was just amazed by what I was able to do by a simple fact of just reasoning and working with pain and pain management. And my mind just kept on growing from there. And it happened in Hell Week. It happened in the 100-mile race. It happened here. It started just evolving into what it is now, to where now I'm like, God, dog, man, the mind, we are leaving so much on the table. But people take me, he cusses so much, he sounds crazy. Don't listen to all that shit, man. Just cut out the bullshit. Cut the bullshit. Just get to the weeds of that. You are fucking yourself up by not examining your brain. You're not examining your brain. Mess is it. That's done. You examine your fucking brain, and that takes some hard work and suffering. If you're not willing to do that, I'm sorry.
And it seems like there's no way to do that as a bystander.
No, you can't watch it, man.
Yeah.
You gotta get out there and be like, oh, this hurts. This hurts real fucking bad. I don't think this is smart. And then, guess what happens? The body will adjust. It will adjust. And everybody goes, well, then the next question I get, but is there a time when it doesn't adjust? What the fuck? I get some of the stupidest shit, man. Like, don't don't take it with a grain of fucking salt, people.
Those questions are people that are wanting to quit.
Yes, and that's what I say.
When should I quit?
Yeah, like, did you ever like feel like? No, shut the fuck up. Stop. I don't want to like that. There's always that next question. No, don't take it like go out there and run through a brick wall as many times as you can. No, I'm not saying be me. Don't run 205 miles at one time. I'm not saying do that. I'm saying start to learn the mind is powerful. It's powerful, man. It's unbelievable.